Okay, good morning. So we are in chapter 16. Just let's remember the end of chapter 15 was a story with the chick of the donkey that he killed 1,000 Plishtim, and after that he was very thirsty, and he prayed to Hashem, and Hashem made a miracle, and he found water there. And again, this story reflects the two sides of Shimshon. From one side, strong powers, materially and also spiritually, in the power of prayer. You pray and Hashem makes a miracle. Not everybody in the world can pray and Hashem will make miracles. And we see it's not the last time. From the other side, he's speaking about lechi chamor, and we said that many times chamor represent materialism. And he praised himself for killing Plishtim without mentioning the name of God. The name of God was also mentioned after that when he was thirsty. So he has inside himself these two sides. Also, we can say the word Shimshon. Shimshon comes from Shemesh, sun. Sun is the power of fire. The fire can burn and can heat. It can make food, but it can burn everything, right? So it's the powers, the big powers can be used for good and for bad. And many times there is this internal conflict between these two tendencies and two attractions for the good and for the bad. And while you have more powers, this conflict can be harder and deeper in your soul. And this is maybe Shimshon. Shimshon is the two sides that you're going to see that in the second part of the story, the negative side is taking control a little bit more. So the first part of the story of Shimshon, the first two chapters, ends with a verse that he led Israel in the days of Plishtim for 20 years. So ישפוט את ישראל בימי פלישתים 20 שנה, which is a typical end of a story. It's usually the way, it's a closure, right? We finish the story of Shimshon, he judged Israel for 20 years, but the story doesn't end. So it's two differences. First of all, usually when it says וישפוט את ישראל, in other places it says when he finished, overcomes the enemy and defeats the enemy, then he judged Israel. While here it says וישפוט את ישראל בימי פלישתים. It adds the word בימי פלישתים in the days of Plishtim, meaning the story wasn't ended, the salvation wasn't completed, wasn't perfect, and this is exactly what is Shimshon, right? It's halfway. It's not being able to finish the mission. Maybe he wasn't destined to finish the mission. We saw that from the beginning it says that he will start deliver for Israel, not will finish. And then we start chapter 16, and this is when his fall started. According to Chachamim, this is when the things are starting to go really down. So until now, we can justify everything he did. From now on, it's a little bit harder, because it says once Shimshon went to Gaza, there he met a prostitute and slept with her. So it doesn't use the word here, slept. In the Hebrew, it says vayavo elea, he came to her. So came can mean sleeping with, and can mean also coming to the house. But the literal meaning of the word, it's really hard to justify other than that he wanted to have a relationship with her. And this is, again, until now we could justify it. He only wanted to marry the Plishtim because he wanted an excuse to fight with them, everything okay. And he got married, it's formal, I don't know. At least two Mefarshim say that all the women that Shimshon married with, he converted them. So the story of the last chapter, and also what we're going to do later with Delilah, it wasn't like he left them Plishtim, he converted them to Judaism.
So it's not such a great conversion, because usually somebody's converting from marriage, they don't accept them.
Well, first of all, today we accept conversion for marriage.
No, they're already married and they need to get married, get converted. But if somebody comes to say, I want to convert because I want to be able to marry.
Yeah, that's what the Gemara says. But again, today, anyway, never mind. I mean, Mefarshim, Radak and Rambam say he converted them. If it's halachically good or not, it's not the issue. But here, what? He converted her, and then, I mean, he came to the night, right? He didn't convert her, right? It doesn't look like that. And Chachamim say that this is the first big mistake, let's say. That's the first step into the deterioration in the end. There are one way to explain, which is not, it wouldn't be a sin, but I mean, it's really, really far from the literal meaning of the verse. There are also about Rachav, the translation of Yonatan, it says the word zona, which is translated usually as prostitute, is come from the word zan. What is zan? When we say in the Birkat Hamazon, zan et hakol. Zan is feeding, someone who feed, right? The zon is to feed yourself, right? To eat. So according to this explanation, it wasn't a prostitute, it was an hotel. Meaning, again, it's a little bit strange. He came and looked for Airbnb in Gaza, right? And he found her, and he came to her house to sleep. Okay, it's not looks like that. It doesn't look like that, right? It looks like it really came to make a scene with her, and that's what he did during the night. So the Gazatis learned Azatim lemor. In Hebrew, it's a little bit hard. It was said to the Azatim, to the people of Gaza, that Shimshon it comes there. So they gathered and lay in ambush for him in the town gate for the all night. So they wanted to kill him when he come out. And all night long, they kept whispering to each other, what daylight comes, we'll kill him. So they waited the whole night. You can see that in Hebrew, the words kol halayla repeats twice in this verse. לעזתים לאמור בא שמשון הנה ויסובו וירבו לו כל הלילה בשער העיר ויתחרשו כל הלילה לאמור עד אור הבוקר והחגנו. וישכב שמשון עד חצי הלילה. But שמשון lay in bed only till midnight, not until the morning. So at midnight, he got up, grabs the doors of the town gate, together with the two gate spots. So he just took out the gates of the city and pulled them out along with the bar. He placed them on his shoulders and carried them off on the top of the hill that is near Hebron. Meaning the ambush didn't work. They weren't very, very awake in this ambush because they were in the gate, and he took the gate and waited until somebody did anything. And they said they waited until the morning, so they didn't notice that even that he took the gates. So it's really not a very good ambush. They're not very professional. Maybe the beep, I don't know.
Yeah, they were trying now in Gaza to ambush. They had all sorts of plans. And that's the Israeli army said, we're not going to play with you. They said they throwing bombs. But they had all sorts of plans to ambush the Israeli soldiers. Right?
Yeah, well, unfortunately, they do succeed sometimes. Yesterday, 4 soldiers passed away. Yeah. Anyway, but again, all the story here is a look a little bit strange. What is the idea of taking the gates of the Gaza? Why to bring them to the mountain that is in front of Hebron?
Because it's high place, everybody can see the humiliation.
Yeah, okay. So maybe the idea is humiliation.
Yeah,
you cannot do anything to me. I can take you and I will show everybody. Now, Gaza is near the sea, and Hebron is Shvela, it's in the mountain that is in the middle. We're talking about a few hours of walking with the gates on the shoulders of the town, meaning the gate of the town. It's not a little gate like that, it's a gate of the town, and put it in the mountain of Hebron. It may be also symbolize the potential of Shimshon and the loss of this potential. Meaning when you are opening the city, the gate city, which is the most guarded place in the city, and usually there are going to be soldiers, and you are opening the city, meaning you could have taken the city. Maybe not by yourself, maybe you could gather all the people of Am Israel together and then come, but I mean, you are taking the strongest when they are ambushing you. I mean, they are waiting for you there, exactly there. And you are able to do this kind of an actions, meaning you are able not only to finish this little story, you can finish the whole story. You can bring the big salvation to Israel, to really liberate them from the Plishtim, but you don't. Now, Hebron is the place where the kingdom of Israel started with David. Shaul not. Shaul was in other place, in Binyamin. but Hebron is the place of the first kingdom of David. And we also saw the relationship between Dan and Yehuda, the two tribes that are connected. Both of them are compared to a lion. Gur Aryeh Yehuda, it was said by Yaakov Avinu. Dan Gur Aryeh Yezanek Min HaBashan, it was said by Moshe Rabbeinu. Both of them are compared to the lion, to the calf of a lion. So it could have been a kingdom here. You could have started the process of creating the kingdom of Am Yisrael, but you chose otherwise. You were defeated by your desires, by these fires that you have inside you that burn yourself, not burn the enemies, or not always burns enemies. So this story reflects, let's say, the demons in the soul of Shimshon. We are talking about a judge in Israel who went to spend the night with a prostitute in Gaza. I mean, this is not what you accept from the Dayan, from the judge of Am Yisrael, from the leader of Am Yisrael. So we see that these instincts, these desires were too strong for him. He couldn't overcome. He looks in control, right? And he's and all this potential, all this power, all this energy of taking the towns and humiliate the Plishtim, you use it for a local victory, not to the general complete victory. And then we start the next story, which is a final story of Shimshon, and is a total fall. After that, he fell in love with a woman in Vadi Shorek named Glila. So Glila, it doesn't say clearly here, but it's quite clear from the story that she wasn't a Jew again. She was Plishtit. Nachal Sorek, it's in the son of the Plishtim. And it doesn't say only that he wanted to marry her. She was Yashra Be'enai, or he wanted one night with her in Gaza. He loved her, right? So this is the next level of connection with Plishtim. When you are falling in love with her, it's meaning that you are really abandoning your nation and you are dedicated to her. And we see that she is going to be the one who's going to make him fall. Also, Chachamim took the name. It's the only woman that mentioned in her name in this story. The mother of Shimshon is not mentioned in his name. The first woman is not mentioned in her name, and of course the prostitute in Gaza is not mentioned in his name. And this is the first woman who is mentioned in the name, Glila. Glila, Chachamim relate this word Glila with the word Dal. Dal is someone who is poor, meaning that he ani vadal, right? A poor person is called Dal. And also the Dalel is when you are Dalut is poverty, but in the meaning of you don't have a lot. It's when you have something and then you're taking part of it and you left with a little bit. This is called a dalel. I agree. What? No, the plation. I will explain. I will give you an example. For example, when you have a tree with a lot of branches and you want to take some of them, so the rest of the tree will be stronger. So you are medalel. Also in the field. Yeah. So you are taking a little, you are taking from the, so here it says she took part of his powers. Idilela et kocho, meaning she make him weaker, right? Weaker in his power, in his body, like we are going to see, but also weaker, of course, in his connection with God. And again, this is the second step in the deterioration of Shimshon. And he says the lords of the Plishtim went up to her and said, Sarne Plishtim. Sarne Plishtim is a term that we are going to see later in Shmuel. And it means Plishtim lived like in small provincias. Each city had its own leader, and they called Sarne Plishtim. The five of them, there were 5 cities for the Plishtim: Gaza, Ashkelon, Ashdod, Kriyat Gat, and Ekron. And each one of them has his own king, and together they had like coalition, like there wasn't one king for the Plishtim. We never see the king of the Plishtim we see in Sefer Bereshit. In Sefer Bereshit, what? Yeah. The 5, it's called the 5 Sarne Plishtim. There were 5 cities. What? We see that they control Eretz Israel, the entire Eretz Israel. They live there, but they control all Eretz Israel. We're going to see that the battle of Shaul, when Shaul fall, was in the north near Afula. So it was, yeah, it was far away in the north. Okay, anyway, the lords of the Plishtim went up to her and said, coax him and find out what makes him so strong. So they understood that something here is unnatural. Nobody can take the gates of the city and go to the mountain. And nobody can kill 1,000 Plishtim with a cheek of a donkey. They understood something here is unnatural, and they understood there must be a secret here, something that will take away his power. And how we can overpower him, tie him up and make him helpless. And we'll each give, and we'll each give you 1,100 shekels of silver.
It translates not according to the word. Like
ניתן לך איש 1,100 כסף. What is not exact?
time up, אסרנו לענותו, we going to time. To torch him.
Yeah, you're right. It says "V'asarnuhu," we will tie him to,
To torch him.
yeah, we torch him.
Not nothing.
No, not torch him. The word le'anot here meaning make him weak. It's not torture. It's not, we will see later, it's not torture. It's like, again, like ani. Ani is poor. Kol anot anochi shomea. Yeah, it's called the voice of one who are losing. So anot in this case meaning, how can we make him weak? Right? That was the question. Now, here come really the strangest story. I just say that very shortly. She asked him, how you going to be weak? He tell her a wrong answer, a lie. She's doing that. And of course, released himself without a problem. So he could have understand in that moment that she want to kill him. But she asked him again, and he tell her again a lie. And in the end, he tell her the truth. How come when he saw in his eyes, they're using it against him, how could he tell her the truth about what's going to make him weak? It's like suicide.
So he knew what she was up to.
It looks like that. It looks like, let's see the story. And so this is really a big question. I don't have a good answer for that. I have two answers, but none of them are very, very good. And I never heard a good answer for that. But let's see the story, and then we'll speak about. Anyway, so Delilah say to Shimshon, tell me what makes you so strong, and how could you be tied up and made helpless? Innocent question.
Yeah,
how can you be helpless? So just to soften a little bit that, we'll say that it was common, and until today, that between married couples, there's no secret. It should be the principle of marriage, right? Between a married couple, there shouldn't be secret. And that was she told him, you know, we are living with you, something strange with you. I want to kill you, tell me how to kill you, right? That was the question. It's, tell me more about you. I want to learn about, I want to know you better. And the Mefarshim say Radak, and other, it wasn't one day. And the next day, she tried to kill him. She spoke with him once and twice, and try here and try there. And in this version, in other version, I want to, wow, you're so strong, Shimshon. Tell me a little bit about yourself. Did you go to the gym every day? What are you doing exactly? So it's not like, is there any way that you will be really weak? If you are a smart woman, and she was apparently a smart woman, you can do that without awake the suspicions, wake the suspicions of Shimshon, at least for the first time. And then Samson replied, if I were to be tied with 7 fresh tendons that had not been dried, I should become as weak as an ordinary man. So he lied to her. Lied to her meaning two things. He doesn't trust her. Even though he loves her, he doesn't trust her. He knows that something is strange here, and he is aware of that. But he doesn't want to leave. I mean, if you think that your wife wants to kill you, you may want to leave. I don't know. Most of us. So he doesn't want, or because he loves her so much, or because he doesn't afraid. Right? I mean, I can handle it. It's okay. So, so the lords of the Plishtim brought up to her 7 fresh tendons that had not been dried. She bound him with them. While an ambush was waiting in her room, then she called out to him, Shimshon, the Plishtim are upon you. Whereupon, so how could she tie him? Apparently he was sleeping. She awake him. Couldn't they just kill him while he was sleeping? It looks like not. It looks like if they were getting close to him, he would have wake up or something like that. And immediately,
Maybe it didn't matter. She figured, okay, he's weak now. It doesn't matter if she wakes him up or not.
it's still a wrong idea to wake the lion, right? I mean, and we'll see that again in the second case. So whereupon he pulls the tendons apart as a strange of tow comes apart at the touch of fire. We see again this fire, right? The fire that goes to the good and go to the bad. It was as strong as a fire. And he told her something, what is against me is something that will dry me, right? The other way, something that will, is look on the verse 8. It says, so the Lord of Philistine brought up 7 fresh tendons. It doesn't say in Hebrew fresh, before it says in verse 7, it says with 7 fresh tendons. It doesn't say fresh, it's saying wet. Yeah, wet. So the wet can turn off the fire, right? So the fire of Shimshon can, so he didn't tell her the two, but something close to that, right? You should dry my fire. Or not dry, I mean, you should turn off my fire with water. But it didn't work. It didn't work very well. So there was ambush inside the room. It doesn't say what it did to the ambush. It just says that, yeah, maybe they were only way to see. So the secret of his strength remained unknown.
So sees his whole fight. He knows it's pretty obvious. They both know that she did it.
Yeah.
At this point in time, there's no denying it.
So what I'm thinking here, maybe like you said, he didn't know about the ambush. So he thought maybe it's a game that she's playing with him.
Yeah.
It's not something serious, right? While she was playing, she wanted to play with me and she tied me like that. Nothing happened. So in the second time, the Delilah said to Shimshon, oh, you deceived me. You lied to me. Do tell me how you could be tied up. I want to play this game. Why aren't you playing with me? So again, maybe many times she asked him, and he still didn't trust her. Interesting why. Now he said, if I were to be bound with new ropes that had never been used, I would become as weak as an ordinary man. So we say that the fresh tendon or the fresh rope was the idea of turning off the fire. Had never been used before. It can be compared to Nazir, that he was a Nazir, someone that from his birth, he was never profaned, right, by wine or by cutting his hair from his birth. And then he tell her that, and the same idea. So Delilah took new ropes and bound him with them while an ambush was waiting in the room, and she cried, Shimshon, the Plishtim are upon you, but he tore them off his arms like a thread.
You don't see that the ambush was very.
Yeah.
Where there's
They hide themselves.
she just confessing.
What?
Was there really Plishtim waiting, or she was just?
She was, it said that they were waiting in the room, in the inside room.
And so.
So he didn't, they maybe were hiding, so he didn't see them.
So that she would only pull them if he doesn't break the rope.
Yeah, something like that, yes. But it looks like now it's a little bit harder for him. In the first, it said it was like the fire touch and it's for himself, it's melting for itself. Here, it was like a hoot, like a thread. Thread is something, you have to cut it, right?
Yeah.
So a little bit weaker than it was before. And then Delilah said to Shimshon, you have been deceiving me all along. You have been lying to me. Tell me, how could you be tied up? He answered, if I weaved 7 locks of my head into the web. It's getting closer. Now it's on the head, meaning of his hair. The secret is in the hair. So he's getting closer to that. And again, the same story. And she pinned it with a peg and cried to him, Shimshon, the Plishtim are upon you, awaken from his sleep. He pulled out the peg and loom and the web. So it didn't work also. Then he said to him, how can you say you love me when you don't confide in me? It's a good reason not to confide you after you tied him 3 times. How can you not? Again, so if she is a smart woman, she knows how to do that. And maybe Shimshon didn't notice, didn't suspect it. He loved her so much that, oh, he was confident in himself that he can still be with her. This makes three times that you've deceived me and haven't told me what makes you so strong. Finally, after she nagged him and pressed him constantly, he was wearied to death. What does it mean, wearied to death? Wanted to die. ותקצר נפשו למות. That's what it says in Hebrew. Meaning he say, I prefer to die than keep like that. Again, leave her, go home. No. That not the choice that he took. Kotzer ruach. Yeah, he couldn't stand it anymore. Interesting enough, and we will see that, it's the second time that Shimshon wants to die. When he was in the stone that we saw last week, he also said there that he wanted to die. And here is the second time he wants to die. Why a person would like to die? Who killed Shimshon in the end? He himself. The suicide wish. Right? The person that want to dead. We'll see that later. Anyway, in the fourth time, it says, and he confided everything to her. He told her everything. He said to her, no razor has ever touched my head, nor for I have been a Nazarite to God since I was in my mother's womb. If my hair were cut, my strength would leave me, and I should become as weak as an ordinary man. This is a very stupid move. Saying, I mean, you suspected her during this whole time. You saw that she used it against you, and you tell her the truth.
Didn't see those Plishtim that were waiting.
Still. So why didn't tell her from the beginning? Because he didn't trust her. He understood that something here is not very kosher. Anyway, it says this time, sensing that he had confided everything to her, how could she know that? He already deceived her 3 times. Chachamim says, Nikarim divrei emet. When someone tells the truth, you can notice that. And it was noticeable that he told her the truth.
Could we say, I mean, essentially, this strength comes from Hashem. It's not really the hair. I mean, if he cuts his own hair, then he's violating his Nazirut. But if somebody else cuts it for him, so he says, at the end of the day, you know,
I didn't do anything bad.
Yeah.
Maybe I will go. This is one of the solutions that I want to suggest to that, but we'll see that soon.
Yeah, but going to mention Shimshon before ראש השנה, נתרת נדרים, ואפילו נזירות שמשון.
נזירות שמשון, yeah. Okay, anyway, this time she knew that he's telling her the truth. A question, Shimshon, how Shimshon knew that? How Shimshon knew that his power come from his head? His parents told him that? It doesn't say that. The Tanakh doesn't say how does he know that. Maybe his parents told him, or maybe he just understood that from... Why didn't say, if I drink wine? Nazir also doesn't drink wine. He doesn't say, if I drink wine, my power will leave me. No, he doesn't say so.
That's why, I mean, maybe he's not really telling her the real truth. As long as he's not doing anything to violate his Nazirut.
Okay. So, sensing that he had confided everything to her, Gilah sent for the lords of the Plishtim with this message, come up once more, for he has confided everything to me. And the lords of the Plishtim came up and brought the money with them. She lulled him to sleep her lap. Then she called in someone else, and she had cut off the 7 locks of his head. Thus she weakened him and made him helpless. Vatachel la'anoto, it says. She started to check his power. His strength slipped away from him. So she cried, Shimshon, the Plishtim are upon you. And he awoke from his sleep, thinking he would break loose and shake himself free as he had other times. For he did not know that God has departed from him. No, it doesn't say that he didn't know that his hair was cut. He didn't know that Hashem has departed from him.
That means
he didn't know.
Really just Hashem.
Okay, and then the Plishtim seized him and gouged out his eyes. They brought him down to Gaza and shackled him in bronze fetters, and he became a male slave in the prison. After his wool was cut off, it began to grow back. This is the end of this part, and then after that we'll see the last story. So yeah, I see that our time was over. So we leave the question like that, and we'll answer that the next time, Bezrat Hashem. So but again, the question is why he gave up in the end, why he told her the truth when it was quite clear that it wasn't going to work for his favor, when she's going to use it against him, when he suspected and everything. How come that he told her the truth?
Maybe he wanted that. Maybe he wanted to, just like in the beginning, he wanted to have an excuse
Wanted to die.
No, he wanted an excuse to start up with.
To start a war. Yeah. Maybe. Okay, without a shame. So we'll speak about it next week.